Okay, this is Alligator in Alignment. I'm doing a show with a friend of mine from the homeless, who was homeless. This subject is about homeless. And I did a thing at the Dorothy Day House in Berkeley, one of the early when I was doing my podcast. And I learned a lot about the homeless situation by being there. And I sang this song by Stephen Foster, wrote in the 1800s, that is perfect for the homeless situation. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to get it into the podcast. This is Alligator. Here we go. Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears, while we all sup sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard time, come again no more. While we seek mirth and beauty, and music light and gay, there are frail forms fainting at the door. Though their voices may be silent, their pleading looks will say, oh, hard time, come again no more. It's the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered outside my cabin door. Oh, hard time, come again no more. Oh, hard time, come again no more. It's a sigh that is wafted across the troubled wave. It's a wail that is heard upon the shore. It's a dirge that is murmured around the lonely grave. Oh, hard time, come again no more. Oh, hard time, come again no more. There's a hard time, come again no more. There's a pale sorrow maiden who toils her life away, with a warm heart whose better days are over. Though her voice may be merry, is sighing all the day. Oh, hard time, come again no more. Oh, hard time. Oh, hard time, come again no more. Oh, hard time. Oh, hard time, come again no more. That was Stephen Foster, and that song fits very well to the homeless situation. So that's that. Now we're going to get on with the show. Well, here we are once again. I'm asking you to do me a favor. Like I keep saying, it doesn't cost you anything. It only takes a moment, but it means the world to me. So if you could just take a moment to do this for me, I would really appreciate it. Hit the subscription button and the like button and help me to keep things rolling here. Okay? I will see you soon. This is Alligator in Alignment. Right now I'm going to do a show with a friend of mine. We lost track of each other for about 25 years, I guess. Him and his mom always used to come to hear me. Let me see if I can get him. on the thing. So are you there, Sean?
I am. I am out here.
Okay. Could you state your name?
Yeah, my name is Sean Schnorr.
Okay. Now, Sean, when I met you, you were working at Pebble Beach,
Correct.
working
Correct.
at the pro shop. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Um, and I lost track of you. You and your mom were my biggest fans.
Hey, you know it.
Yeah.
Still are.
Yeah. And I was so sorry to hear that she passed away. But
Yes, sir.
but like you say, you talk to her every day. She's still with you.
He's looking at me right now.
Yeah, yeah. And I know she's happy you're talking to Alligator.
Yes, she is. She couldn't be happier. I know. The moment that I was able to get back in contact with you, she was jumping for joy up there in heaven. So I know that.
Yeah. So I want to. What happened to you between working at the pro shop at Pebble Beach and becoming homeless? Could you take us through that?
Yeah, I sure can. Well, my grandmother and my mother raised me in Pacific Grove. I moved to Pacific Grove, California ever since I was 6 months old. And so I went to school there, worked there for my whole life. And then my grandmother took ill and she passed away. So the house that we stayed in since I was 6 months old, it had to be sold and divided. And so we had to move to Salinas, me and my mom. And Salinas wasn't something that I've never experienced. Salinas, but Pacific Grove to Salinas is like a big culture shock. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. You know, I got involved with alcohol, got involved with drugs. I remember waking up one time on Soledad Street in Chinatown in Salinas, and half of my head on the concrete and half of my head on the curb, and I was defeated. You know, I was defeated, Alligator, and it brought me to my knees. But I wasn't finished yet. I had to go back out. I had to go back and I had to get some more sobriety under my belt. You know, get another job just to lose that one. And then after that, I fell even harder. You know, and I'm very blessed that you know when I did become homeless, I was homeless in Marina, and there was some people there that took me under their wing. Jim and Diane, I call them the Woods parents. And they knew my mom, and without them, I've never made a tent in my life before. I never pitched a tent, and if it wouldn't have shown me, it would have been worse than what I did. But so they really took me under the wing, and Jim was a vet, and he had a couple of friends who would stay there on the campsite. It was kind of like you all get around and play cards every day, and so I mean it wasn't all that bad, but it's something that it was bad enough for me to realize that it's not for me. It's not for me, and then I had my heart failed. I cleaned myself, went back to work at a company called American Supply Company, and I ended up we lost our house. Our house was getting foreclosed on, back taxes, and so my mom was in a wreck. She was up at the mental ward, and I was trying to fight to keep the house, and I couldn't do it. I had to. My heart went, so they rushed me to the hospital, and then they put a pacemaker in. And even after that, I couldn't hang with that job because I couldn't do the responsibilities anymore, the heavy lifting. And so they took me. They had to let me go, and I became homeless once again. And then quite some time back and forth. And all I remember doing was I finally found a program called Project Step Up, which is in Salinas, and it was for people during COVID, when the COVID first started, who would, if you had some type of disability and you needed a place to stay, it put you up in this hotel. I was there for 5 years, but then it came to an end because the people who were running it, there was a big scandal, and it got closed down, and then I was homeless again. and that time right there was that was the last time. I was bouncing back and forth from person's to person's house, to friend's house, and I felt like it was always a burden.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And yeah, I felt like it was always. And I was without trying to be,
Yeah.
but it got to me so much that I just, I said I got to do something about this, and by the grace of God, um, He opened an opportunity up. They were still working with, even though the company got closed down, tried to step up. They were still working with the counselors, and by the grace of God, that helped me get where I'm at today. And in this trailer, which it's a small trailer, but I'm very grateful for it. Going through some issues right now, just like we all are, but I'm very grateful for it. And it's warm. It's not. I have 2 cats. I got everything on the farm too. I got rabbits, I got dogs, I got cats, I got chickens, I got roosters. I got everything out except some donkeys and everything else. But I couldn't ask for more, And it's home for me for right now. So I'm very grateful. Not a day that doesn't go by that, even on my worst day, when I'm not feeling good, my heart's hurt, my chest hurting up. I'm very grateful that I have this over my head, because the homelessness, it is miserable out there. It is a miserable place for anybody. Every time I see anybody out there that's homeless, man, my heart goes out to them, because I know what they're going through.
Yeah,
And
it's gotta be a hard life, especially when it's cold and it's raining and all
oh
that stuff
man,
you have to deal with. Now,
yes sir. Especially then, especially this time of year, it's miserable.
but see, when I first started my podcast, one of the places I did was a place called Dorothy Day House in Berkeley, and they've been feeding the homeless for many years. And I
Amen.
thought I knew the homeless situation, but I found out I didn't. Because when I got there, my attitude was probably like a lot of people are. Well, these people they just on drugs and they don't want to work and this and that. But that's not. I'm sure that is a certain part of the population is like that. But there are other people, like you, who simply couldn't pay the bills. Like you say,
Right.
you couldn't keep your house. You end up losing your house. And one of the things I noticed when I was at Dorothy Day House was that there are a lot of old people who are homeless, and I'm sure you must have run into some of them.
Yes, I did. I did. A lot of them are very, very kind people. The people who are out there in the streets, homeless. It'll affect anybody. And I've actually never come across anybody who was mean to me. I've been lucky or blessed or both, But there's some very, very good people that are out there and having to live that life, and just unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, I ran it when I was at Dorothy Day House. They had a lady there, 85 years old, and through no fault of her own, her Social Security couldn't pay her rent, and she ended up sleeping on the streets. And the people there told me, they said she's not the exception. There's a lot of old people who are on the street.
There really is.
When I was in Monterey, I lived right across the street from Lake El Estero. There was a bunch of homeless people who lived there, and there was this veteran, and he had served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and here he was homeless. I mean, just homeless. And when you talk about because of the situation the homeless people are in, they are very kind. The majority. I'm sure there are always exceptions, but
Right.
he was getting his government check, from being a veteran, but he couldn't afford to pay rent with it, so he was homeless, and he loved my son Donnie. And one day he came over, knocked on the door at my house, and I opened the door, and he says, "Alligator," he says, "I just got your son a present." And I said, "You did?" He says, "Yeah." He says, Went down and I got him an electric motorcycle,
Oh, wow.
and I found out that it was like $200 or $300 for that. And when I told Donnie about it, he knew this guy because he would always go out in the park and talk with him, So he was really close to this homeless man, and he said, "Dad, I can't take that." And I was going to tell him that, but I was glad that I didn't have to tell him because he came to the conclusion himself. He says, "This man is homeless. He's living in the street, and now he takes his money and buys me a present." He says, "Dad, I can't take it." So we took the motorcycle back to the place where he bought it and told him that we wanted to give him his money back and take the motorcycle back.
Right.
And he came over and he was asking me, he goes, "Well, why didn't you take the thing?" And I said, "Well, my son realized your situation and that you were spending the money that you need for your survival to buy him a present." He said, "But I love your son." And I said, "Yes, he loves you too. But the fact that you
That's a beautiful thing right there.
Yeah, the fact that you did that is overwhelming, the type of heart you have."
Right, exactly. It goes beyond boundaries. You know you just had a perfect example of what you witnessed between your son and that gentleman. When you're homeless and somebody does something for you, it can be just even giving you $1 or some food.
Yeah.
It means the world.
Yes.
Or just sit there and talk with you. Are you warm enough? And it means the world. So I can see how very quickly that people can get very appreciative, of other people who are more fortunate and have a roof over their head, about spending some time with them.
Yeah, but that was
That
was what he liked about Donnie, is that he said, "Your son always comes over, he sits with me, and he talks to me like I'm a human being." He says, most people, because I'm homeless, they look down on me. He said, "But your son didn't look down on me."
Amen. You got a great son there.
Yeah. And
you got a great son, Alligator. You raised him well.
When I was at the Dorothy Day House, I got to walk around and talk to a whole bunch of homeless people. And I saw a bunch of people older. I'm 84 now. I was probably 82 or something back then. But I saw people older than me. And I couldn't imagine me at my age having to sleep outside. And the worst thing was I ran into several veterans who had served in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I'm sure if you were homeless, you've run into veterans also, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The people, the elderly couple who helped me out in the woods. My woods parents. He was in the Navy. He was a veteran from the Navy. Yeah.
Yeah. I talked to several. They said that the homeless population, only about 7 to 10% of them are veterans. Well, that seems like a small number, but the number of homeless is huge. So 7 to 10% means there's still a lot of veterans who have served their country and now don't have a place to live.
It's a very sad. The way it is. Regardless, homelessness is bad enough, but when it starts getting worse in that direction as well, for people who fought for this country, that's not a good thing at all.
Yeah, I have this thing when I see somebody homeless, I go by my own feelings. Sometimes I pass them by. And then other times I look at someone and I can just tell this person is not loaded on drugs.
Right.
And so, I always give them money. I don't give them $1 or $2. I give them $5, $10.
Sure.
So it's wonderful to know that you have now got yourself housing, and you're trying to pull yourself back up. But we have to have compassion for the homeless.
You know, it's sometimes life is not always fair. So you get all these, and when you get hit, you get hit from all different directions, and that's something I'm learning. I'm learning how to tackle that, and I got a long way to go, because when I for myself still, when I get under the gun, and I got too many things going on, I feel like I'm getting beaten down. I feel like I want to go out and get messed up, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can relate. I can relate 100%. And they and that's a large part of the homeless population, but people forget that there are so many people who are homeless, especially the old people that I run into. They are homeless for no reason of their own, but simply because they couldn't afford a home. They couldn't afford to pay rent. There was this one lady I talked to. She was in her late 80s, and she said she got her Social Security check or whatever it was, but it was never enough to pay rent. And she at that time she didn't have family. You know, her family, her sisters and them, they had all passed away. And here she was in her late 80s, sleeping on the street, out in the cold. And she was just devastated by it, you know. She was just devastated by it. She didn't. I wanted to do a interview with her, but like a lot of homeless people, I'm glad that you're doing it, because you said you don't care if people know who you are. You want to get the message.
I don't know, if I can help you out and help somebody else out, then that's all that counts.
And a lot of the people I talked to, in fact, at the door at the day house, they say you're going to have trouble getting homeless people on your program, because a lot of these people don't want people back where they grew up at, or their old friends, to know what their situation is. And I can understand that. I can understand that. If I was homeless, I really wouldn't want, you know, my friends back east or people who grew up with me to know what my situation was.
Right.
But you were very brave when I told you. I said, well, listen, we'll give you a fake name. You don't have to use your name. And you said, I don't care. You know, I don't care about that. I want to help and get the word out. So
that's what it's all about. And that doesn't concern me, you know.
Yeah.
Just as long as I can help somebody else out and help you help somebody else out, then so be it, you know. Like many people help me.
Yes. So I like to put a human face on the homeless, because whenever I talk to people are, these guys, they're all on drugs. They are not all on drugs. They are not all people who are just too lazy to work.
No, there's the majority of it. The majority of the people that are homeless, they don't choose to be homeless. They don't want to be homeless.
Yes.
Yes. There's a small percentage that's all they know, and they don't want to. They don't want to be cooped up inside.
Yeah.
They're happy being outside, you know, doing their whatever drug they're doing, and they're okay with it. So and I if they're okay with it, then I'm okay with it, you know.
Yeah.
But if the people that are out there who really want to get out of that cycle, and they're struggling, which is a struggle, those are the people that really need help, you know.
Yes, and to know that there are veterans who have gone to war, and some of them are handicapped because of injuries they received in their military careers, that they are living in the richest country in history, I think America is. And they're living on the streets, not because they're on drugs, not because of anything, just because they can't afford to pay rent. You know, we have to address the homeless situation with humanity and humility. And I'm not saying prop up the people who you say there are certain ones who just they like living like that. That's well and fine, but don't confuse them with the tons of people who don't want to be homeless, and if they had any way of getting themselves on their feet and getting a job, they would jump at it.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, oh, no, that's the majority of people who are homeless. They fall in that category.
See, coming from you, which is coming from someone who has been there, and you are saying that the majority of the people there are not the people that people use to dismiss the
Hands down,
homeless.
hands down. Yeah, you get to know quite a few people when you're in the homeless community, part of it, and you might not see it as just a person passing by, but you see a lot of sadness, a lot of defeat in the people's eyes, and you can't do too much about it. I couldn't do too much about it because I was one of those people, but the majority of the people that are out that are homeless, they want to change. All they need is just a little somebody to give them a hand.
Yes, yeah, the hole is so deep that you need a hand to help you out of it.
Just a helping hand, and then the rest God will take care of the rest, and you'll everything will start rebuilding for you. But some people just need a hand up, come on, my son, come on, my daughter, come on, let's go, let's do this together. And it's like the one thing I don't understand, Alligator, is and I still don't understand why, but out of all these, we have all these buildings around here that are vacant, like at the old Fort Ord, and all these warehouses that are vacant, and we have all these people that are out homeless on the streets, and these buildings are boarded up and they're closed up. It doesn't make any sense to have all that extra space and have these people suffering and dying, being homeless. But that's something I don't think we'll ever understand. That's the government.
Yeah, it's people like to demonize the homeless and use, like you say, the overwhelming homeless people that you have met were not on drugs. They are just down on their luck. They can't figure out how to dig out of the hole that they're in, and they need help, a helping hand, and sympathy.
Yep.
Sympathy.
That's what the thing is. Understanding, somebody to be a friend.
Yes.
Somebody say, let's do this together.
Yes, I've talked to so many homeless people who are veterans and people who had good jobs, but all of a sudden the job closed down. And meanwhile, while looking for another job, the rent needs to be paid, and the landlord says, "Hey, you got to pay the rent. If you can't pay the rent, out." Suddenly suddenly they find themselves on the street, and then it's even harder to pull yourself up, because how are you gonna meet all of the requirements that you need? The showers, the clothes, everything you need to present yourself for a decent job.
Right. And when you can't do those things, when you have those things, Alligator, when you're able to take a shower and eat when you want, have some good lunch, and change your clothes. When you can't do that, those things are taken away from you because the circumstances. That's what hurts. That's a big deal right there, because it strips away your humanity.
It's really a situation that it's just horrible. It's just horrible. And like I say, I don't take up for the people who are like the percentage of people who are just living like that because they don't want to do anything else. But my sympathy goes out for the old, the elderly, and people like you who just had a home but couldn't keep it. And then the next thing you know, where you going to go? Nobody's going to let you stay someplace for free. So the only option.
And it happens quickly. It happens quickly for people. A lot of people didn't see themselves going to be in that position. All of a sudden, they have no roof over their head and they're homeless in the cold and the wet, and it happens very quickly, Alligator.
Yeah. Well, my friend, it's been wonderful talking to you, and I'm hoping that my listeners will get a different aspect of what this homeless thing is.
Yes, sir. It's been my pleasure, Alligator. If anything I can do to help out, you just let me know.
Yes. So anyway, I'm going to do a follow-up with you later on the same subject. We're going to pick a few different areas to talk about.
Okay. I look forward to it, Alligator.
So anyway, this is Alligator in Alignment. I'm going to do a song for this thing. I did a song at Dorothy Day House by, what's the guy's name? The guy who wrote Oh Susanna. Anyway, I can't think of his name now.
Don't you cry for me.
But it's a song that very well fits the homeless situation. It's called Hard Times. Hard Times, yeah.
Amen. Thank you, Alligator.
So anyway, Sean, thank you for doing this, my friend, and I'll be in touch. And
yes, sir. My pleasure, Alligator. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, my friend.
Okay, now, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.